The world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches, entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round number 9 of the 2017 Hyper New Zealand Supercars League. We are at Sandown Raceway for the 9th round of the championship. It's going to be a very interesting night tonight, with it being what is effectively the oval of the championship, with pretty much only 2 left-handers in the entire circuit, every other corner being a right-hander. Obviously it's not quite an oval, with an oval usually going left, but we'll call it the oval for the main reason of it being that it's a mainly dominant one-way corner track. But anyway, so practice so far with a couple of minutes before we go qualifying. This is pretty much the final time for the drivers to get some final laps and final setup tweaks before they head to the shootout session, well, shootout style session to set the grid for race number 1. Practice has been fairly close, with the majority of the field being fairly compacted and close together as far as times go. Trevor Wilson, Ben Rothberg and a couple of others all training places for the top spot in the practice sessions, as David Stevens just goes to the quick top of the timesheets for this final bit of practice with a 1 minute 8.390. Josh Revel, the man himself, the current defending champion, going to second with a 1 minute 9.084. Yes, indeed, the man himself is back from England, back in the land of the long white cloud, and is here tonight racing. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be once again the battle between David Stevens and Josh Revel, although with that said in mind, Peter Reid and Ben Rothberg will be hopefully giving those two a good run for their money, as they have been fairly quick all set, well, for majority of the season since Perth. So those 4 drivers are probably going to be the ones at the front. However, the rest of the field is going to be fairly compacted, I would say. Currently on screen is Rob Derrick, as we've been just following him around for a couple of laps. We'll have a look at who else is on track at the moment. Obviously, championship leader at the moment now on screen, Chris Bramley, in that Castrol BP Ultimate green and blue Nissan Altima. Currently leading by quite a nice margin at the moment. And speaking of the championship points, we'll quickly grab the championship points and throw them up on screen. So this is what the championship currently looks like for the top 9 positions. Chris Bramley sits in at the top on 220 points. 204 points. Just behind him in second is Nathan Addis, and Taylor Oakes having a very impressive season so far, sitting third on 197 points. Craig Priest not too far behind, only 3 points difference, 4 to get ahead. In fourth is Craig Priest. Fifth is Jason Wild, sitting on 187. Sixth is Trevor Christensen, sitting on 180. Seventh is Daniel Bugler, newcomer to the league this year as well, doing quite well in that Volvo on 176 points. 8th is Trevor Wilson on 166 points. 9th is Rob Derrick on 159 in his Ford Falcon. Next page, just finishing off the top 10 is Tony Dance in the Jägermeister Cadbury Brown, 100 in Ford Falcon on 134 points. Daniel Kinsman, 11th, just outside the top 10, only 13 points behind Tony Dance on 121. Aaron Wilson in 12th on 113. Peter Reid in So Peter Reid is 13th at the moment on 108. I do apologise about not saying it earlier as I was being interrupted. Next is Brad Jesson in 14th on 97 points. 15th is Luke Dunsford, 90 points for him in 15th. 16th is Darren Owen on 80 points. Unfortunately, Darren has missed the past few rounds due to deciding not to race after one of the earlier rounds in the championship, just primarily due to the fact that he found it slightly too hard on him to do the night's racing and then get up early in the morning. so that's unfortunate, but he will be back for Bathurst and the Enduros, so it'll be good to have him back. Then in 17th we have the two fastest drivers, well, two of the fastest drivers in the field anyway. Ben Rothberg and David Stevens equal on points in 17th on 60 points. Then we go back to Jen Siverson, who's currently sitting 19th on 59 points. Just to also mention, Tony Dart's also currently leading the Social League points, with Luke Dunsford not too far behind, so that's something to keep of interest. Obviously, it being a mixed league of both quick guys and not so quick guys. Then over to the final page of the standings. It is in 20th we have Andrew Jones on 53 points. 21st is Matthew Kinsman, Daniel Kinsman's brother, in 21st on 41 points. Nick Higgins in 22nd on 37 points. 23rd is Sean Petrie with 36 points. 24th is Paul Jaffa on 35 points. 1 point behind Sean there. Very close. In fact, very close between 25th and 22nd, with it only being a few points difference between each position actually. 24th is Paul Jaffa as we continue through the order on 35 points. 33 points for Brian Hewson in 25th position. 26th, Scott Hatton sitting on 21 points. He is joining us once again in tonight for the round at Queensland, so it'll be good to have him back and see how he goes tonight. Louis Cachero sits 27th currently on 18 points. 16 points for Carl Rennie in 28th, and then rounding out the field in 29th position is Damien Boltry on 15 points, sorry. So that is your championship order currently, with 8 rounds completed, sorry. Last round being around Townsville Street Circuit. But obviously now at Queensland, it's much more open than the tight, twisty, wall-covered street circuit of Townsville. So this is going to be interesting to see how these guys can get through and around this track, as it does more or less require being able to get a good exit onto the straightaway rather than just going like a bat out of hell through a majority of the corners. So currently on the left hand side of the screen, just rolling through the order. It's only a few tenths, it's just over a second separating the top 7 at the moment, and 2 seconds separating the top 12, so it's fairly close as Chris Bramley decides to go for a bit of a mowing adventure, and Josh River also parks it up in the gravel trap to bring it back. David Stevens currently on the screen at the moment, second on the timesheets, just behind Trevor Wilson. Trevor Wilson doing quite well. He's done very well for himself actually in the past 2 rounds. He just missed out on a round win after having slightly too many cut tracks in race 3 of Townsville. Rightio, it is time for qualifying. So, as I said earlier, it is a shootout style as far as what the format is. 1 warm-up lap and then 1 flying lap, as you probably heard Nathan Addis in the background there saying to Greg Young, who has also joined us once again after being away on a bit of a hiatus overseas. So it's good to have him back as well. Taylor Oakes currently on screen, the first man out on track. No, Jason Wilds is actually, sorry. He follows behind Jason Wilds. Then we have the rest of the field filing out of pit lane at the moment. So this is going to be interesting to see how this goes as far as who gets a pole and who qualifies where. We definitely saw quite a busy session on the weekend from, well, earlier in the weekends at the actual V8 Supercars round, which was quite entertaining 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes, because you may have got out early, but there is still plenty of cars in pit lane, so Jason's going to want to hopefully time this right and make sure he doesn't get held up here. As he starts his lap coming out of the final corner, he will start his qualifying lap now, and Taylor Oakes will follow suit just behind Josh Ribble, now leaving the pit lane there in the background. Taylor Oakes will not be wanting to get held up, which it doesn't look like he has. No, he hasn't by the looks of it. So the cars currently on track are Josh Ribble, Chris Bramley. Chris Bramley starting his lap now. Josh Ribble still warming up at the moment. Daniel Bugler is leaving pit lane, and so is Scott Hatton. No, Scott Hatton is on track, still on his warm-up lap. Nathan Addis coming down the front stretch to start his lap. So a number of guys currently on their flyers at the moment. Rob Derrick has just started his and has almost had a moment heading into turn 1. Greg Young is another car on track. He's starting his lap as Jason Watts is coming through the final corner now to finish his lap. What is he going to do as far as lap time goes? It's going to be a 1 minute 10.399. Taylor Oakes goes to pole for provisionally with a 1 minute 10.052, so very close indeed. Josh Revell starting his lap. We'll try find someone on a lap here. Chris Bramley is one of them, and so is Nathan Addis, as you just saw on screen there. So Chris Bramley coming through the final corner here, right out wide, late apex to try and get as best of a run onto the straightaway as possible. What's it going to be here? I would say it's going to go to the top, and it's going to be a 1 minute 9.407. That goes straight to the top, with Nathan Addis not too far behind. He will go to pole with a 1 minute 9.147. Here we go. It's about to get very interesting with times coming up down. David Stevens currently on screen. It's going to be a very interesting one to see how he goes. Rob Derrick has set his lap with a 1 minute 10.260. Nope, David Stevens is actually on a warm-up lap, sorry. Trevor Wilson on a flyer at the moment. Greg Young goes to second with a 1 minute 9.303 at the moment, so that's second for him. We'll see how Trevor goes here. Trevor Christensen not too far behind, and Luke Dunsford as well, and Brian Hewson just in the background there briefly. Josh Revell goes to second with a 1 minute 9.198, so the defending champion second on the grid at the moment. He may very well tumble down the timesheets at the moment if he's not careful. Scott Hatton sits fifth with a 1 minute 9.824. Trevor Wilson coming down the straightaway now. What's this lap time going to be? It's going to be a 1 minute point. I believe, no, that was actually a warm-up lap. That was bizarre. Anyway, Brian Hewson does a 1 minute 10.572. Paul Jaffa does a time as well with a 1 minute 11.302. Paul Jaffa going way out wide there. Tony Dance does a 1 minute 10.289. Trying to find anybody else who's on a lap here. Trevor Wilson is on one. David Stevens is on one. He's about to finish his now. What's it going to be? I would say it's possibly going to be pole here. It's going to be a 1 minute 8.483. David Stevens goes straight to the top of the timesheets and will take pole position, I reckon. Daniel Kinsman has set one meanwhile with a 1 minute 9.262. That is fourth. Daniel Bugler in seventh with a 1 minute 0.9550. So everybody's starting to put their laps in. Peter Reid currently on screen at the moment. See what he can do. Ben Rothberg's actually been disqualified for some reason or another. I'm not exactly sure why, which is interesting to note. But anyway, Luke Dunsford has just meantime set a time, and he goes to 11th with a 1 minute 9.981. Peter Reid about to come across the line. It's going to be a 1 minute 8.075. That is pole position for qualifying for race 1 of round number 9 here at Queensland. That is a very quick tie. Apparently, Peter Reid is actually going to be starting rear field. So it will be David Stephens and Trevor Wilson who will be on the front row for some reason or another. He's opted to start rear field, so that is your front row. David Stephens and Trevor Wilson on the front row. Nathan Addis then beside Josh Revel for the second row in 4th and 5th. Daniel Kinsman, Greg Young, Chris Bramley, Daniel Bugler and Trevor Christensen round out the top 10. Then we go back to 11th to 18th, which is Scott Hen, Luke Dunsford, Taylor Oakes, Rob Derrick, Tony Dance, Jason Wilds, Brian Hewson and Paul Jaffa. So we'll be back shortly with race number 1.
The world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches, entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377.
Rightio, it is time for race number 1 of round number 9 here at Queensland Raceway for the 2017 Hyperstimulator New Zealand Supercars League. We are a few seconds away from going green. Lights are on. Here we go. Revs are rising. Lights out and away we go. It's looking like it's going to be a good start further back. Everybody's pretty much made it through as we come towards turn 1. Trevor Wilson on the inside. He's going to get the jump on David Stevens here, but David Stevens is going to get a crossover. Josh Rebel possibly looking to do the same, but he didn't quite get it done. As they're fanning out further back. Too wide, Nathan Addison, Josh Rebel, but Josh Rebel slots in ahead into 3rd position. It's pretty well on. Rob Derrick's gone around in the background, and that's a massive off. An absolutely huge off. Not sure what's happened there. Not sure whether that was contact. We'll quickly grab a replay of what happened there. We'll go on board and see. So he's come out of the corner. Oh, and he's been turned by someone. Not sure who. Oh, so that was Peter Reid, unfortunately, who's made a bit of contact with him there. That's not ideal, unfortunately, and he's at the back. So jumping back to live now. Scrolling through the field. Ben Rothberg looking to make a move on the inside here of Luke Dunsford. Tried to possibly do it on Trevor Christensen, but not quite. Oh, Peter Reid getting very sideways, and Tony Dance getting a little bit out wide there. Peter Reid's going to try and make a move on Luke Dunsford here, and I think Greg Young's readdressing to someone there. I'm not entirely sure. As Rothberg's going to go up the inside of Christensen here. Reid's going to follow him through. Oh, and there's contact on. Bugler's just about gone over on his side. Oh, and he's been T-boned. There's multiple cars involved. Taylor Oakes, Luke Dunsford, and I think it was Daniel Kinsman and Peter Reid off in the background there as well. That's absolute chaos. I'm not sure what's happened there. We'll jump to a replay. Oh, so Hatton's been turned by Bugler there, and then everybody else has ploughed in without really having anywhere to go. Rothberg's tried to go right. Kinsman's made a bit of contact there, so that's a bit messy by the looks of it. And Luke Dunsford's looped it in the back. I'm not sure if that was contact or whether he's done that on his own. It looks like he's done it on his own from that, but we'll jump back to live now. Ben Rothberg currently in a battle with Scott Hatton at the moment. And a couple of guys still battling further back as well currently. So keep a close eye on this little battle pack here for just outside the top 10. No, it is inside the top 10, sorry, I do apologise. Looking at the timer screen. For about 6th, 7th, and so 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th, and 11th as Kinsman gets a little bit wide there. That'll allow Tony Dance to try and make a move here. He's going to look to go around the outside here, and he's given him a bit of contact, rubbing doors. All in the good spirit of racing here in touring cars. Kinsman's going to go defensive here into the final corner, but is Dance going to look? He's looked up the inside. Oh, he gives him a bit of a hit there, but Kinsman's going to try to do the over and under, and it's looking like he's possibly going to get it done here. As Dance is going to go outside, and Kinsman's going to move to the inside. Here we go, run into turn 1. As Kinsman's going to try. No, Dance is going to outbrake Kinsman, and he's going to get the run into turn 1. So Tony Dance takes 8th position off Daniel Kinsman there. These boys are going to definitely have to be thinking about how hard they race each other as Kinsman runs a bit wide, and that's going to allow Jason Wilds to look up the inside here as they head down towards turn number 3, and Jason Wilds has actually cleared him there. As they come into turn 3, Kinsman looking to try go around the outside and possibly get a late apex more or less and get a good run out of the corner. But anyway, it's looking like Wilds is going to have a move done on him from Tony Dance, and whoa, that was a very late. Luckily, Dance managing to pull that up, and Kinsman's about to make a move up the inside of Wilds as well, so Wilds is going to lose turn 1 here. getting forced a little bit wide there. Peter Reid just in behind. I'd say he's probably going to get a move on. He's going to make a move on Jason Wilds here. Oh, very close to being into the back of Jason Wilds and making it a double car, more or less. 2 cars in one, as Wilds is going to go defensive, but it's not going to work, as Reid's going to look up the inside here at turn 1. He's just about made it done, but he's going to try again here at turn 2. Wilds makes defense. Bit of blocking going on there. It's very aggressive, but Reid's managed to get through, and Jason Wilds will fall down to 11th now. So Peter Reid is now inside the top 10, having started from rear field as well. So good drive so far from Peter Reid, as Kinsman running a bit wide on Tony Dunce's off, so there may have actually been contact there, possibly. We'll just quickly grab a replay of what's actually happened there. No, Dunce's actually run off on his own, so that was on his own accord, unfortunately. So we'll jump further ahead, and then Kinsman manages to hold off Peter Reid as they head into turn 4, with Scott Hatton running a little bit wide, all bumper to bumper, and Reid's going to go up the inside, and he's got the move done. Oh, big moment on, he's lost it as well, so that's really unfortunate that's happened. Tony Dunce having to take it to the grass to avoid that. So that's really unfortunate. He was doing quite well, and Bugler's giving him a big turn there. Bugler will probably have readdressed that, I would say. I don't think he has, actually. So it's looking like most of the field is spread out. A couple of small different battles throughout the field as well. We'll actually quickly jump to the battle for just inside the top 10 again between Jason Wilds, Daniel Kinsman and Scott Hatton, sorry. Once again, these three definitely giving each other a good run for their money. So this battle for the 7th, 8th and 9th positions seems to have just started to spread out a little bit here. There's a battle currently going on at the front, so I'll have a look at that between no other than Joshua and David Stevens. Going at it once again, which is of no surprise considering that they did this 2 years ago. No, last year, sorry. And the year before that. And the year before that. These two have had quite a bit of history being very close to each other, neck and neck. Oh, there's been a big incident actually further back between Daniel Bugler and Peter Reid. I'm not exactly sure what's happened there. We'll grab a replay actually. So Reid's actually coming to the final corner on, I think Bugler's turned in on Reid, and then there's been massive contact. I'm not too sure what's happened there. Quickly grab a drone shot and see what happens. So there was a very small overlap. That's hard to say. I'd say Reid's probably at fault. Oh no, that was kind of Bugler's own fault, sorry, for that. Of no fault of Peter Reid. So we'll jump back to live. Daniel Bugler all the way down in 16th by the looks of it, unfortunately, after that. Which is a bit of a shame, as he was doing quite well, and he's also doing quite well in the championship, as we saw earlier on in the broadcast. Peter Reid is apparently in pit lane just in the background there, I saw. Probably making his compulsory pit stop, I would say, as this race is 20 laps and does require one compulsory pit stop at some point from all the drivers. Greg Young and Rob Derrick are going at it, and for the minors further back, that is for the 17th and 18th position, as Greg Young just struggles to get the traction down there out of turn 3, but he's going to come back here at turn 4 possibly. No, he's going to stay in behind, and he'll continue on to hold on to 18th position. He'll definitely want that 17th position. Robin himself have definitely had some very good battles in the past, so it'll be interesting to see how well these two, or how hard these two fight. Obviously knowing each other very well, being good friends, and also knowing, having raced each other a lot on the racetrack in past years. So Revel is coming out of pit lane there in the background, so he's made his compulsory pit stop as well. Daniel Bugler is also in pit lane meantime. I'd say we're going to be starting to see a number of guys making their pit stops now. I would not be surprised if the front runners start to pit. So Josh Revel has fallen down to 17th, so now Trevor Wilson and David Stevens coming to pit lane as well to make their pit stops. Trevor Wilson has actually jumped David Stevenson in the pits, apparently. There's Trevor Christensen and also Rob Derrick and Nathan Addis and Jason Wild and Greg Young all in the pits at the moment. And Rebel actually jumps both Wilson and Stevens, so that's quite interesting. And Wilson's actually managed to get quite a big gap actually as well to Dave. So possibly Dave filling up a little bit more than he needed to by the looks of it, having fallen back that far. Jump quickly back to just inside the top 5. Nathan Addis currently sitting 4th after the pit stops now. Currently yet to pit is Taylor Oakes. I believe Scott Hatton and Daniel Kinsman are as well. Tony Dance, Brian Hewson, Luke Dunsford, Paul Jaffa, all yet to pit. Taylor Oakes comes in a pit lane, and so is Ben Rothberg and Chris Bramley. So the field is pretty much just about cleansed at this point. Brian Hewson enters pit lane, as well as Luke Dunsford. So Paul Jaffa and Tony Dance and Scott Hatton and Daniel Kinsman all yet to pit at this point. Otherwise, apart from those 4, the field is pretty much cleansed at this point. So we'll actually jump to the battle for 4th position as David Stevens loops it in the background. I think he just got slightly too wide and hit the grass there, which is really unfortunate there, as Scott Hatton is run out of fuel by the looks of it, unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame, as he was doing quite well there. But this battle for third place, I believe, effectively, is, well, second place anyway, is very much heating up as Ben Rothberg has actually managed to gain a huge amount of time and is now right on the back end of Taylor Oakes, and has to take massive avoiding action to avoid Brian Hooson, I believe that was. No, Paul Jaffa, sorry. So just past halfway at this point. Field is pretty much cleansed apart from Tony Dance, who is yet to pit and is staying out. And Ben Rothberg being very aggressive there. Making very aggressive move on Trevor Wilson there to get into second position. So now Trevor Wilson falls back to third, effectively. With Josh Rivell the effective leader. Tony Dance still yet to pit. He's managed to go quite a distance on those tyres and also tank. As we've got a pass for the lead there just then, as Joshua has managed to get past Tony Dance for the lead. That's going to be effectively the lead there now. So Tony Dance will definitely need to start pitting at some point with those probably very worn soft Dunlop tyres on that car. He'll probably get eaten up alive and spat up by Ben Rothberg and Trevor Wilson here shortly. Ben Rothberg's probably going to make a move here into the final corner. If not, yes he is. He's going to be alongside him. And straight up the inside he goes. So move done as Tony Dance comes in the pit lane finally after 14 laps on those tyres and that fuel. So he will drop down quite a few positions, I would say. Probably come out just inside the top 10, if not just outside of it. As we'll quickly take a look over the pit wall. And Taylor Oakes goes by, Kinsman goes by, Addis goes by, and so will Peter Reid. So Jason Wild's just in the background there. It's going to be very close as to whether he's going to get 11th. No, he's going to go back to 11th. So he's lost 10 positions out of that pit cycle, unfortunately. Probably not the greatest idea of the overcut, which doesn't seem to have worked for him there, as Peter Reid running very wide there on the exit of turn 2. Currently hunting down Nathan Addis at the moment. Appears to be probably one of the better battles on track at the moment. I'd say Peter Reid's probably going to get a move done here shortly at the final corner. Nathan's going to go defensive, feeding into the final corner. Reid's going to go around the outside. Or is he? No, he's going to try and do an over and under here. Or running a bit wide there out of the final corner. He's probably going to try and get a move done up the inside of turn 1 here if he can. No, he sits station and will wait till turn 3, I would say, probably at this rate. Be a much smarter idea too as well, to not compromise his exit, as he's managed to get a good exit out of turn 2 here. He's going to manage to get it up the inside, side by side into turn 3, and outbreaks Nathan S by quite a distance. Just about a car length actually. Oh, Nathan just about coming back at him there. But Reed with the much better exit. He will slot into 8th position there. Meanwhile, Ben Rothberg has actually managed to get past Josh Revel recently, by the looks of it. He's managed to do that in turn 4, apparently. So, Ben Rothberg is now your new race leader. Majority of the field now spread out by the looks of it. Not a lot really happening on track, as most of the guys have settled down and are in the last few laps of the race. Currently just ahead is the battle for 6th position between Daniel Kinsman and Taylor Oakes here. Kinsman's all over the rear end of Taylor Oakes, and Peter Reed's not too far behind. We'll actually jump on board with him here as we have a look at this battle for just inside as Kinsman runs wide, and that allowed Peter Reed to go through into 7th. He'll now want to hunt down Taylor Oakes, getting very sideways out of the final corner on the grass there. 2 laps to go. So we'll stay on board with Peter Reed for a lap or so here to see where he can get Taylor Oakes. Oh, very close under braking there. What's he got on the exit here? Oakes with a slightly better run, but Reed's managed to get it done, get a good exit as well. He's managed to get by. He's going to put it up the inside and he'll get the move done. Oh no, he won't. He'll go straight out wide into the just about the gravel trap actually. So he will stay in 7th. But he'll probably gain back that time fairly quickly, I'd say, on Taylor. So it's 1 lap to go for these guys. And I'd say Peter Reed's going to want to make a move here, with it being the last lap. So it'll be his last opportunity to try and get a move done here. Is he going to get it done at turn 3? Squirreling under brakes. And he's struggling to get the power down, and he's managed to get the move done up the inside, but he'll have to go defensive here as they head into turn 4. Meanwhile, Ben Rothberg has won the race, followed by Josh Revel, Trevor Wilson, Chris Bramley, and then David Stevens will round out the top 5. But currently on screen is the battle for the minors between Taylor Oakes and Peter Reed. Peter Reed's managed to get the move done, so it's looking like he is going to have 6th position here, unless something dramatic happens here, which it doesn't look like it has. Taylor looks getting a little bit sideways here, as well as Peter Reed out of the final corner. Peter Reed is going to finish 6th. 7th will go to Taylor Oakes. 8th will go to Nathan Addis. Daniel Kinsman will finish 9th. Rounding out the top 10 is going to be Jason Wilds as he crosses the line now. Tony Dance just in the background as well as Trevor Christensen. They will finish 11th and 12th. 13th will go to Greg Young. 14th is going to go to Daniel Bugler by the looks of it. And Brian Hooson is going to just hold off Rob Derrick to take 15th. Rob will settle for 16th. 17th will go to Luke Dunsford. 18th Paul Jaffa, and 19th will be Scott Hatton after he ran out of fuel, unfortunately. As we see Rothberg doing some casual burnouts on the start-finish line there. But anyway, that is race number 1 done and dusted. Your finishing order currently on the screen with finishing times and all. So we will be back very shortly for race number 2, which will be a reverse grid of race number 1's finishing order.
The world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches. Entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377.
Rightio, it is time for race number 2 here at round number 9. Scott Hatton and Paul Jaffa on the front row for this reverse grid of the finishing order of race number 1. Luke Dunsford and Rob Derrick not too far behind. Timer is ended and the lights are on. 3 lights, 4 lights. Lights down and away we go. Good jump from Scott Hatton there at the front row. A couple of guys fanning out further back, and it's going to be Scott Hatton who leads into turn 1. We're going to look further back, and Nathan Addis is off and just about wipes out Daniel Kinsman there. Oh, Josh Rebel off in the grass, and that's a bit of a... Oh, and someone's been turned further ahead. Oh, and there's contact between Wilson on Kinsman. Oh, there's been a massive shunt. Addis, Wilson, Stevens, Kinsman, I think that's Paul Jeff, no, Brian Hewson and Trevor Christensen involved in that. We'll quickly grab a replay of that. We'll have a look at what's actually happened there. So, oh, he's just been, Christensen's just run into the side, run into the back of Brian Hewson there. And then Kinsman is just T-boned Christensen. Wilson's run into the back of Wilds there, and then Kinsman's clipped Addis. Rebels just managed to avoid that. Rothberg's been involved. Bramley has been involved. Most of the front runners actually are involved in some form or another, unfortunately, with that. So currently we'll have a look at this battle. Apparently Greg Young's pitted for some reason. I think he's jumped the start, hence why. So he is now at the tail of the field. We'll jump to this battle currently. Josh Rebel and David Stevens making contact there, and they're 3 wide as they come through. Oh, and Rebel's 4 wheels off the ground. Massive. Oh my word. Talk about going from race cars to suddenly pod racing with spaceships. It's supposed to be 4 wheels on the ground, not none. Quite the experience, I'd say, for Josh Rebel there as Wilson goes up the inside at the final corner. Wild's trying to make a move on David Stevens here as well, by the looks of it. So Rebel's going to go up the inside of Wilson here at turn 1, and he gets the move done cleanly as well. And Wilds has had something happen there, I'm not sure what. Must have had a moment, because now Rebel's going to go around the outside of David Stevens there. And Taylor Oakes is off in the background. So Rebel is now up to 10th from the rear field, second to last pretty much. Jason Wilds just behind, looking to make a move on Daniel Kinsman here. He's going to try go around the outside. Kinsman's going to run wide. He's going to do the over and under, and Jason Wilds is going to go straight by Daniel Kinsman. Yes, he will. He'll hold the position. So Wilds now into 13th at the moment. Trevor Wilson also very close to David Stevens, just ahead. Some fairly close racing going on at the moment in these first few laps. Everybody pretty much nose to tail. We'll quickly jump ahead to this battle between Josh Rebel, Tony Dance, Chris Bramley and Rob Derrick. Dance with a bit of a moment struggling to get on. That's Bramley way off in the distance. Oh, Bramley doing a bit of jukes at hazard there. Oh, jeez, just about being rear-handed by Jason Wilds and Daniel Kinsman there. We'll grab a replay actually from on board. We'll see what actually happened there. So he's come out of the corner, he's stood on it on, he's lost it completely, and then gone through one of the signs and then over the curb and very much done a Dukes of Hazzard style there. as we're going to take a slow-mo look at that. 4 wheels are off the deck. Not quite an orange race car and not quite a muscle car, but definitely quite a bit of a stunt, to be honest. Number of cars deciding to use no wheels rather than 4 in this race in the first few laps, but anyway. Apparently a bit of action going on here as well between David Stevens, Tony Dance and Trevor Wilson, as David Stevens forcing the position. And Dance ends up running wide because of it. I think someone else ran it wide there just before as well, but we'll quickly jump back to live after seeing all that unfold. In this battle for just outside the top 10. Currently Bramley going to look to make a move on Tony Dance here. Is he going to... he's looking, but he's not going to make a move. He's just going to sit station at the moment. We'll jump on board with Bramley, actually, as he's going to look to make a move on Dance here. Up the inside at turn 1. And he's got the move done before he actually gets to turn 1. No, Dance is going to try and come back at him up the inside of turn 2 here. No, not quite. He almost had it, but he didn't quite have it in the end. So Bramley is now up into 12th at the moment after passing Dance there. So we'll quickly move through the field. Have a look at where everybody sits. Currently this little battle going on. Josh Revel more or less just making his way through the field, with Peter Reid currently the race leader. He is way out front, miles out front actually, as Josh Revel makes a move on Daniel Bugler here. Move done very well and easily. As Bugler's going to try and hold on here. We'll actually jump on board and see what the difference is between the two of them. Revel having a much better exit there, by the looks of it. So it looks like Revel's got a little bit more drive and rotation in the car than Bugler does at the moment. As Scott Hatton looking to make a move here on Daniel Bugler as well. But Bugler's going to hold on. As we see David Stevens just in the background there, running a little bit wide through turn 2 there. And Trevor Wilson is now making his way through the field. He's just got the move done on Scott Hatton here, but Hatton's going to try and come back at him. Up the inside at turn 4. No, Wilson's going to hold on. As Wilson's going to go up the inside of Bugler here, just slightly forcing the issue, but he's got the move done by the looks of it. But is Bugler going to come back at him here? Possibly. as that's Paul Jaffa just exiting pit lane. They're not sure whether that's a penalty or not, as Bugler's run wide in front of Hyton and he's made contact with him there, and Stevens just about getting by, but he ends up just having to get on the brake pedal to stop running into Bugler there. That's now definitely brought the field back together, as Stevens is going to look up the inside. No, he's not. Possibly going to try and get a move made here, as they're side by 2x2 just behind Scott Hatton, and I believe that was Daniel Kinsman just further back, as Stevens is going to look to make a move here. This is for the final top 5 spot as well, almost halfway as well, so we shouldn't be too far away from seeing some pit stops here. So David Stevens has pulled away a little bit from Daniel Bugler here, so we'll have a look at this little battle further back. With that is Paul Jaffa, Chris Bramley, Daniel Kinsman, and I thought that was Tony Dance just before, but he may have just dropped off the pack a little bit here. Luke Dunsford actually is who it was. That my mistake is Dunsford getting very sideways there, just a little bit too much on the loud pedal out of the corner of turn 3, as Bramley with a big moment under brakes, very much backing it in. Not quite a Mad Mike reverse entry style, but not far off, and a good effort considering it's a V8 Supercar. And Kinsman's going to get by Dunsford here as Bramley comes into pit lane, and so does Wilson and Stevens, so the three of them pit. So now Dunsford's going to go defensive on Kinsman here for 5th position. Who's it going to be? Dunsford's going to back out, and Kinsman will go straight by to take 5th position, and Dunsford will slot back in behind in 6th. So pretty much on. Dunsford's looped it, just slightly too much curb there, and that's caused the car to grip up and rotate around on him. Really unfortunate, as he was doing quite well there. That's now dropped him down the order to, I believe, 8th, no, 9th now, after Jason Wilds goes by. So we'll jump back to that little battle pack between Jaffa, Hatton and Bugler here. Jaffa's looking to make a move up the inside. He's going to put it up the inside there, and he's managed to get the move done by the looks of it. But Hatton's going to come back out of the second last corner. He's going to try all sorts of things to try and get by, as Jaffa's run very wide, and Hatton has to check up there to avoid running into him. So this will definitely be helping Tony Dance here, as he's not too far behind. So oh, Tony Dunn's running very wide, probably just braking slightly too late into turn 3 there, and that's costing me, well, a bit of time, but not a huge amount by the looks of it. So your race leader, Peter Reid, is in pit lane at the moment. Scott Hatton is just, no, Luke Dunsford, sorry, has just left pit lane. I'd say Jason Wilds is going to be pitting this lap by the looks of things. And I think that's it. Greg Young's also made his pit stop as he's exiting pit lane just in the background there. Jason Wilds is in pit lane as well, just in the background of that earlier shot. as Scott Hatton is still going at it with Paul Jaffa here, and now Tony Dance has got Peter Reid on his tail, as Peter Reid just getting a bit sideways out of turn 2 there. He'll make a move on Tony Dance to get by, and Jaffa's put it up the inside of Daniel Bugler here, and he's got by just. So this little battle pack here definitely going. Oh, Scott Hatton getting very unbalanced there from just using probably slightly too much curb. And that's allowed Tony Dance to close right on in by the looks of it. As Scott Hatton comes into pit lane there, now Peter Reid's going to do a move on Daniel Bugler here. Not Peter Reid, he can't do a move on himself. And he's gone around the outside at turn 1, which he's done very well. It's not easy to do a move at turn 1 around the outside there, and he's looped it. As I say that, slight commentator's curse and another Dukes of Hazzard as he spears across the track in front of Greg Young just about. So that may slightly hurt him here as he has pitted, but the guys ahead have not, apart from Greg Young by the looks of it. Trying to find if anybody else was in pit lane, but it doesn't look like it. So Peter Reid, effective race leader, I would say. Josh Rebel and Ben Rothberg then at 2nd and 3rd as well. They're not too far behind, just coming by in the background there. Oh, and there's been contact between Daniel Bugler and Paul Jaffa by the looks of it. And that's now allowed Tony Dance to get right onto the back end, and he's going to try and make a move around the outside of Peter Reid here. Not quite. Peter Reid making a move actually, and so is Greg Young up the inside. So now Dance has lost 2 positions out of that. On Bugler's run very wide there out of turn 2, and now Greg Young's going to try and make a move on the inside here. No, he's possibly, no. Bugler's going to hold on to that position, and he'll get Greg Young actually. There's been a little bit of contact, and Jaffa's in the wall just about. No, he actually was in the wall, and he's managed to pull it back up. Very good save. Oh, and he's run wide again there in the background, and just about made contact with Tony Dance there. As they come through turn 4 and turn 5, as Bugler's forcing Greg Young wide there, really using those panels, as Jaffa's going to go up the inside of Dance and just about take out Greg Young there. So Dance and Bugler now in pit lane. So currently we'll jump to the battle between Rob Derrick and I believe that was Scott Hatton at the moment, as that's pretty much the closest battle on track at the moment. Jason Wild's just in behind. I think he is coming in. No, he's already made his pit stop. That's right. Peter Reid resuming the lead of the race now after people have started to pit. 5 laps to go now for these guys, so it's going to be interesting to see who is where. Majority of the field, if not the entire field, has made their stop. So the field is pretty much cleansed. Scott Hatton getting a little bit of a bad exit there out of turn 4, so that's going to hurt him. So I'll actually just jump on board with Scott here while he's hunting down Rob Derrick for the final spot on the top 10, and Derrick's going to run wide and just let Scott go, and Jason Walter actually take advantage of that as well and move into 11th. So Rob Derrick loses out to 2 drivers actually to make it to fall down to 12th. As Daniel Bugler has apparently retired for some reason. I think just out of frustration, as he's ended up losing it at turn 1 in the last lap or so. So we'll quickly jump to the battle for 7th position at the moment between Taylor Oakes, Nathan Addison, Daniel Kinsman at the moment. Currently looking like it's probably the closest and best battle on track at the moment, by the looks of it. I'll keep an eye on the battle for 2nd place at the moment, in the background. Meanwhile, Nathan Addis possibly looking to make a move on Taylor Oakes here. He's only got a couple of tries left, with it only being 1.5 laps to go. It'll be 1 lap to go this time by for these guys. So Daniel Kinsman possibly going to look to make a move on Nathan Addis here. We'll jump on board with Kinsman and see how close he's going to be. Is Nathan Addis moving over in the braking zone, and that forces Kinsman to really throw it up the inside there. Oh, and Kinsman getting a bit of a fender there from Nathan Addis. So 1 to go for these guys as they've crossed the line. Who's going to get this final position, as Kinsman's going to go to the inside. Addis with a bit of a bad run. Addis goes out wide to try and optimise his exit here as they head down towards turn number 3, and there's a bit of bum drafting going on. Shake and bake style. Oh, a bit of blocking as well. Saw that in the Formula 4 series as well on the actual weekend of the real V8 Supercars race. But Peter Reid has won this race by a massive margin, 11 seconds. Josh Revel, it's not done actually. I do apologise, I'm 1 lap ahead. Concentrating on the mid-pack battle, I've lost my way of where I am of where we stand. Do apologise. But anyway, this battle definitely heading up now. We'll actually quickly jump to the battle for 2nd, with it being 1 lap to go. Ben Rothberg is currently hounding Josh Revel for 2nd position. Who is it going to be? Revel's going to go defensive. Rothberg's going to try go around the outside. They've both braked fairly equally. Revel's going to try and hold on. He's doing everything he can. Rothberg's going to look to go around the outside. I'd say Revel's going to go defensive. And no, Rothberg's managed to squeeze by a little bit of contact. Is he going to get it up the inside here? It's going to possibly be a drag race to the line. Revel's going to try and do the over and under. No, he's going to try and go around the outside as they come out of the final corner. And Revel's lost it and put it in the wall. So that's going to allow Ben Rothberg to take 2nd. Josh Revel will have to settle for 3rd. Trevor Wilson will come through in 4th. 5th will be David Stevens as he comes out of the final corner now. 6th is going to be Chris Bramley by the looks of it. So we'll jump back to this battle. Who's it going to be? Taylor Oakes or Daniel Kinsman? Is Kinsman going to hold on? I'd say so. And it's looking like he's going to. Kinsman is going to hold on to finish in 7th. It's actually a drag race to the line, and Taylor just about gets it. And Taylor's apparently run out of fuel as well. Nathan Addis will finish in 9th, just behind the 2 of them. 10th will go to Scott Hannon. 11th will go to Luke Dunsford. And 12th will go to Rob Derrick. 13th will go to Jason Wilds. 14th will go to Brian Houston. 15th will go to Trevor Christensen. 16th will go to Tony Dart. 17th, Greg Young, as he's coming through the final corner now. And Paul Jaffa will finish in 18th. Meanwhile, Daniel Bergler will finish in 19th with a DNF. So that is race number 2. Current finishing positions on screen, your timing screen anyway. So we will be back shortly for race number 3, which will be a reverse grid of the current points situation for the night. So it'll definitely be an interesting bit of a grid. So I'll be back shortly for race number 3.
The world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches. Entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377. best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open-wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches. Entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377. The world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open-wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches. Entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377.
Rightio, it is race 3 time. Lights out and away we go for race number 3. Bugler with a great start off the front row from Paul Jaffer, and he'll take the lead as they head into turn 1. Brian Hurston will follow through and go past Paul Jaffer to take second position. Scott Hatton not too far behind. Looks like everybody's made it in Rebels around actually, so current second place points getter Josh Rebel has gone around to the background. He'll have his work cut out for him recovering it to get to the front, and Chris Bramley's trying to make it, force the issue and go up the inside of David Stevens here for the mid-pack. As Kinsman's going to try and go, and he's running to the back of David Stevens there. So everybody trying to find their way through the field, and now he's in a Kinsman's now in a battle with Rothberg. On, Dancer's gone ahead on a massive hit. That's a massive crash. Dancer's on his side. What's happened there? Let's try again, shall we, for race number 3, unfortunately. Oh, and then there's someone's jumped the start. I think that was Bewley, may have done it. Yes, he's jumped the start, unfortunately, and he's gone nowhere. Take 3 this time, and hopefully we don't get any more dramas. Hopefully. Full lights and lights on, and away we go for take 3, and it's looking like it's a much better start this time around as they fan out further back. It's going to be Paul Jaffer who leads as they come through turn 1 just about 4 wide and 3 wide and 2 wide, and it's still 3 wide between Chris Bramley, Daniel Kinsman and Josh Rebel, and Rebel's managed to get through. Oh, Christensen with a big moment getting over the curb. So heading through turn 2, Dances on the grass, and there's all sorts going by, and we're just about 4 wide heading down towards turn 3. As it's looking pretty bunched up. Stevens is trying to force the issue on. Kinsman's been turned by Stevens. On, Reed's run into him. So I'd say Stevens is probably going to readdress that. He should hopefully do so as they come through turn number 4. It's looking like everybody's pretty much made it through nice and clean. So far, a couple of people trying to make the moves, and Trevor Wilson forcing the issue up the inside at the final corner on Chris Bramley there. So the order after the first lap is Daniel Bugler leads from Paul Jaffer, Brian Houston is in 3rd, Scott Hatton 4th, Jason Wilds rounds out the top 5 in 5th. Josh Rebel in 6th as a couple of guys shuffling their way through. 7th is Ben Rothberg, 8th Nathan Addis, 9th is Rob Derrick, and 9th is Trevor Wilson actually, as he makes a move on Rob Derrick there. Rob Derrick rounding up the top 10 currently. Nathan Addis running very wide there out of turn 3. As Peter Reid trying to make his way through the field up the inside of Chris Bramley and Rob Derrick, sorry, getting my cars confused there. As they head through turn 3, as my voice just slightly breaks, as we come out of the final corner, it's gonna be a bit of a battle here. Peter Reid gonna try and possibly make a move out of turn 2, I'd say, possibly even turn 1. No, it's gonna be turn 2. No, it's gonna be out of turn 1 definitely, as he's gonna go around the outside of Trevor Wilson here. But Trevor Wilson is gonna try and hold his own. A little bit of a bump there, but Reid's gonna go around the outside with a better exit. So guys still trying to get their positions back as Reid slips up the inside of Nathan Addis there unexpectedly. So a couple of cars further back bunching, all in a little bit of a bunch there by the looks of it. But otherwise this is, we'll focus on this mid-pack battle at the moment as it looks fairly close. This battle just inside the top 10 at the moment, as Scott Hatton managed to make a move on Brian Hewson there just before. Nathan Addis is going to try and make a move at turn 1 here. No, he's going to sit behind and hold station. No, he's still going to try, and then that's not going to happen. If he can get a good run out of turn 2 here, should be able to get by Trevor Wilson here, as Jason Wild's trying to make a move on Peter Reid, and Trevor Wilson as well in the distance with more Dukes of Hazzard happening. A lot of cars launching over that curb. And through this night of racing is Bramley involved with a bit of a battle here and David Stevens giving Rob Derrick a bit of a shove there. So Peter Reid has actually managed to get past both Brian Hewson and Jason Wilds in that last corner or so. So he is now sitting in 6th by the looks of it. As the field is starting to sort themselves out by the looks of it. Actually have a look at this little battle further back for the minors between Wilson, Oakes, Kinsman and Christensen. Not quite sure who that last car was. Tony Dance by the looks of it of the timing screen. So it was in that Cadbury Brown Jägermeister car. As Wilson is going to manage to pull ahead of Taylor Oakes here. So much going on, it's pretty hard to concentrate on what's going on. We'll actually jump to the battle just back ahead between this little battle pack here between Wilds and Addis. Is a big two-wheel moment for Brian Hewson there, as that's going to allow David Stevens to look up the inside just about, but Bramley's going to take advantage of that moment. Addis defending from Hewson here into the final corner, but he'll move it back to the outside, and he makes a move on Jason Wilds, just slightly leaning on him out of the corner as they come out of the final corner. Some absolutely awesome racing going on. It's all sorts going on. You don't know where to look. There's just battles up the front, battles in the middle, battles at the back. It's going on all over the place at the moment. As Wilds runs wide, going for a wee bit of a wild ride. Stevens will go by, and Jason Wilds will slot in behind Bramley, Derrick, Young, Trevor Wilson, Brian Hewson and Taylor Oakes not too far behind. Addis has managed to get a move done on David no, it's actually David Stevens making a move on Addis here, trying to anyway, as Stevens has managed to get a good run. He's going to try and go around the outside at turn 4 here, but Addis is going to outbrake him. These two teammates for the Enduros confirmed a while back. So, no real love lost here. Although, that said, there may well be. As they come through the final corner to start lap number 7. Peter Reid does the fastest lap of the race, just on that lap. So currently Nathan Addis has a bit of a pace advantage here. David Stevens possibly looking to make a move at turn 2. No, he thinks better of it. As Bugler's gone off in some way or another. Not sure how or why, but Wilson also off in the background there as well. As we've got more going on further back. Whoops. Just casually bumping the mouse. There's something been happening further back here. Have a look at a replay. Oh, there's been a big moment for Greg Young coming into turn 1. He's gone on the curb. It's unbalanced him, and then he's speared back across the track and straight into the path of Brian Houston, who's lifted off the track, and then Kinsman's run into him, and it's just about tipped him. No, he actually has. That's a massive moment. And he will only just about force through the floor of the track there. So he has fallen to the back pretty much, by the looks of it, as Houston's gotten back on his wheels. He's actually travelled for quite some way as well on his lid there, as the car's just having a bit of a moment there. So we'll jump back to the battle for what is pretty much just inside the top 10. We'll quickly have a look at this battle between Bramley and Wilds, as Bramley's going to probably have this position here. Or is Wild's going to try? No, he's not quite going to have it, but we'll quickly jump back to this battle in front of them between Addis, Stevens, and also Houston. Jaffa, sorry. Very similar cars on. Apparently Taylor Oakes has lost it as well. On Addis has lost it in front of Jaffa, and they've collided. And Bramley and also Jason Wilds have gone through, just avoiding him. So Addis has fallen down to just inside the top 10 and 10th. As Wilson gets a move done on Kinsman there to slot into 11th. Christensen looking to make a move possibly on Jaffa here as well. So it's all happening in the first half of the race here tonight. It's all sorts going on, from crashes to battles to all sorts going on. So not sure where to concentrate on, as Christensen's looking like he's got a good run on. Addis has been turned by Kinsman there, and Kinsman's going to readdress by the looks of it, which he is indeed. That was a big moment. Not sure what happened there, but we will grab a replay quickly, as he is waiting indeed. So take a look at the drone on Rob Derrick with a big moment as well, spearing in front of Nathan Addis, and Kinsman's gone to take avoiding action and has just timed it slightly wrong. He didn't know where Addis was going to go, unfortunately. So that's unfortunate, but he has readdressed, so that's good to see from Daniel. But unfortunately that's cost them a lot of places now, in 16th and 17th respectively. So we'll jump back to the battle further up the field. Currently this little battle for the minors between Taylor Oakes and Rob Derrick for 12th place. Tony Dance not too far behind as well. So a little bit of a 3-car battle going on here. We'll stay with this battle for a little bit. We'll go on board with Tony Dance here and see how he tackles the Queensland Raceway circuit. As someone is off in the distance here, that's Paul Jaffa. He's had a big moment under brakes and he's just gone straight ahead, trying to pull it up. Now Taylor Oakes is going to possibly look to make a move on him here. So Dance appears to be very good under brakes by the looks of it. Struggling with a little bit of power down oversteer, but he's managing to hold on only just at the moment. Doing a late apex through the final corner as Rob Derrick and Trevor Christensen peel into pit lane. Trevor Wilson and Chris Bramley also in pit lane by the looks of it. As he comes down the front stretch, Tony Dance into turn 1. It's going to be a hard braking zone for him as he's going to run a little bit wide. Or no, just manages to haul it up actually. Oaks running very wide and out into the dirt there. The racetrack is grey, not green. Both starting with the same letter, but totally different colours, as he's going to make a move on Paul Jaffa here, and he's managed to get it done. Jaffa's going to look back up the inside at turn 3. Oaks is going to hold it round the outside, and is he going to get the run? No, Jaffa's going to slot in ahead, but Oaks is going to come back at him at turn 4. Is he going to get the move done here as he comes down towards the brake zone? Oaks has not managed to get a very good run out of turn 3, and that's going to mean that Paul Jaffa will hold on to that position. That is 7th position for him. Doing not too bad at the moment. We've just crossed over the halfway point in the race, so more pit stops will start to take place as Taylor Oaks comes into pit lane. Paul Jaffa had a think about it, but that didn't quite eventuate as he's having a battle with Tony Dance now. A bit of banging and barging. So it looks like a couple of these guys are going to be... So it looks like that a couple of guys are going to be pinning this lap. By the Rothberg is in by the looks of it. Let's say Josh Revel is going to be following suit. Apparently there's been a bit of a moment between Greg Young and Nathan Addis. So Paul Jaffa comes in the pit lane. Can't really look at Peter Reid at the moment. Currently sitting 7th. He has not made his pit stop, if I'm not mistaken. No, he has actually, never mind. So he is good to the end of this race. Kinsman having a move done there. Having a move done on him by Ben Rothberg by the looks of it. So it looks like David Stevens and Josh Revel are both in pit lane. Revel has just left his pit stall, and so is Stevens. So this is going to be interesting to see where they come out as Rothberg comes through the final corner. I'd say Rothberg's probably going to jump Revel here, but it'll be very close. And it's looking like he has, by the looks of it, by quite a margin as well, as Revel is only just coming out of the blend line now, and Stevens is just leaving the pits now. So Rothberg is now effectively your race leader. Jason Wilds Daniel Bugler is, sorry, he's yet to pit, but Jason Wilds is yet to pit either. So, and so is Tony Dance. So Peter Reid is actually your race leader as Dance loops it in front of Rothberg. That was a very close moment there. Not that he could have been T-boned there, but he wasn't, luckily. Jason Wilds coming into the pits by the looks of the timing screen. We'll also quickly jump to the battle for... No, we won't actually, never mind. We will jump to the battle for 8th position between Chris Bramley and Trevor Wilson at the moment, being the closest and probably the best battle on track, as there's a bit of contact as we jump to them. Between the two of them, Jason Wilds exiting pit lane there by the looks of it. Just in to the right hand side of the screen there. He was exiting pit lane, or near the end of it anyway. So Trevor Wilson has managed to get past Chris Bramley, but Chris Bramley is probably going to have something here for him. Not sure why he was jumping on and off the brakes there. Bit strange, but anywho. So Wilson appears to have a little bit better pace by the looks of it. Only a few tenths so after looking at the lap time comparison. So this battle's probably going to end with Wilson pulling away, which it's looking like he is at the moment. Well, that could very well change. Bugle has pitted by the looks of it. So Rothberg will take over the race of the... No, Reed will, sorry. With Rothberg not too far behind. As Bugle has slotted in behind Oaks here, so this is, keep an eye on what Oaks can do here, and hopefully, whoops, wrong button, can hopefully make a move here. Nathan Addis battling with Rob Derrick just in the background there. Addis using a bit of the grass. One very expensive lawnmower, and it probably doesn't do a very good job of it either. So it looks like Bugler has pulled away from Oaks with those much fresher tyres, but Paul Jaffa is not too far behind, and neither is Nathan Addis and Rob Derrick actually. So this could turn into quite a little bit of a good battle here, possibly, and hopefully, as the field is currently spread out. Oh, big moment there from Paul Jaffa as he just backs it into the corner under brakes, coming into the final corner, and it's looking like Greg Young is on the tail of Nathan Addis here. Let's quickly keep an eye on this little battle here. Meanwhile, Oaks has managed to pull away a little bit from Paul Jaffa. Derek off in the distance there, running a bit too wide through turn 2. So actually look at a lap time comparison between Addis and Young. Young with probably the better tyres as well from that later pit stop. So Nathan Addis did a 1 minute 10.1 in that last lap, and 1 minute 10.5 the lap before that. Greg Young did a 1 minute 9 in that last lap, and then a 1 minute 9.2 the lap before that. So Greg's got some pace at the moment with those much better tyres, and he may very well be able to get by Nathan here. So Buglers apparently had to do a drive-through penalty for speeding in pit lane. Unfortunately that's happened, and that'll drop him down the order. Not the greatest night for him, unfortunately, with a number of errors and mishaps going on, but that is racing at the end of the day. It's not always going to go your way. As Jaffa having a big moment there at a turn 3, he's managed to gather it up. Only just so, with a bit of a slide. So it's going to be 2 laps to go for these guys who are currently on screen. Looking like the rest of the field is fairly spread out, with this pretty much being this and the battle ahead between Taylor Oakes and Paul Jaffa being the closest one on screen by the looks of it. As Paul Jeff's had a bit of a moment into turn 1 with Taylor Oakes apparently, and this is going to allow Nathan Addis and Greg Young to both make a move probably heading into turn 3, as Nathan's going to go to the inside, but he's not going to get the move done as Jeffer has a bit of a moment, just sliding a bit under brakes. That'll probably hurt his tyres a bit as well, I'd say. As they head towards turn 4, Nathan's looking very racy here at the moment. He's going to want to get past Paul here as quick as possible and try and also remember that he's got Greg Young in his tail, so he can't be too silly with his moves here, or he will lose turn 1 possibly. As the leaders are on their final lap, this little battle here on their final, well, about to start their final lap anyway, as they come across the line. So Peter Reid, meantime, is actually coming to pit lane, and that will hand the win to Ben Rothberg actually, which is interesting. Until Josh Revel coming to pit lane, so that'll hand down Evan Stevens second. No, third, sorry. No, second, yes. So, drama on the last lap with people not taking fuel, but we'll move back to this battle as it's suddenly heated up between Paul Jaffa and Nathan Addis. Nathan Addis has just managed to get past. A little bit of contact there earlier on, but they've managed to get it done. And actually a number of guys have come into pit lane because they've run out of fuel. So, Peter Reid's going to actually finish third, while Bramley's going to get fourth, and Revel's going to get fifth. Trevor Wilson's also coming to pit lane, and he will get 7th by the looks of it. Yes, he will, because... Oh, and Christensen's also going to come into pit lane. So, a number of guys have run out of fuel. Oh, and Addis is going to come into pit lane. He's run out of fuel as well as Oakes. So, this is drama all over. What? All sorts going on. Oh, no. Whoops, I'm thinking of a 20-lap race. I'm an idiot. I've just made the biggest mistake of the whole lot. It was a 30-lap race and 2 pit stops. I just made it sound like it was way more exciting than I thought I did. I'm an idiot. Anywho, David Stevens will... So, Ben Rothberg and all these guys are pitting at the moment for their second stop, with it being 10 laps to go. So Ben Rothberg is currently your leader. David Stevens about to go by, and he will take the race lead. He has done his stop, I believe. Yes, he has, as we saw earlier. So he is now the effective race leader. Peter Reid is in second, not too far behind. Actually, he is. He's coming through turn 2 now. Ben Rothberg is third, Josh Revel fourth, Wild's fifth. He's just managed to jump Brian Hooson there. Now Brian Hooson's a bit down the order actually. So actually run through the order. Said Kinsman is now sixth. The 7th is Chris Bramley. He's coming out of pit lane, but now that'll go to Trevor Wilson. Bramley will be 8th. 9th will go to Tony Dance. 10th will be Paul Jaffa, but he's had to double stack with Greg Young, so Greg Young has lost out massively there. Daniel Bugler's going to move into 10th actually, and meanwhile Trevor Christensen on... Oh, Nathan S has got a speeding in pit lane, actually, so he's got that all wrong coming into pit lane, unfortunately. So, we'll just scan through the field at the moment. Nathan S trundling down through pit lane. So he's served his drive through. Scrolling through the field at the moment, trying to find a battle. Doesn't appear to be one at the moment on track, one that's close anyway. David Stevens has just come into pit lane. That's interesting to note. So he must have not taken off on enough fuel there, because he's had to make another stop actually. So that will allow Josh Revel, Jason Wilds, and possibly Daniel Kinsman here. No, Kinsman's going to not quite get there. But Jason Wilds will move ahead. No, Kinsman is actually possibly going to get... No, Kinsman's going to come into pit lane, sorry. So that is going to mean that Trevor Wilson is not quite going to get David Stevens here. So Stevens is now down to 5th after that. Peter Reid is just going by Trevor Christensen to put him a lap down. So jump to the battle for 12th quickly. Because there's a battle that's just suddenly headed back up between Paul Jaffa and Taylor Oakes, as Oakes is going to possibly look up the inside here. Thinks better of it, but he's actually going to think about it on exit, and just about runs into the back of Paul Jaffa there on the exit. It's going to look to... No, he's not. Never mind. Slightly deceiving, this track, with it being flat, and some of these guys known to stick it up the inside sometimes. So you never quite know when there's going to be a move, as Tony Dance has just gone off at the final corner. Not sure why. He's coming to pit lane though. This battle going on between Oakes and Jaffa. So quickly jump on board with Jaffa for a lap, I reckon. No, never mind, we won't, because it's just all of a sudden he's managed to get a move made on Taylor Oakes here. And Oakes is going to put it back up the inside, and this is now allowed. Oh, and Kinsman's been forced off. It's unfortunate, just a bit of contact has caused him to go off track there. So actually we'll go on board for a lap now with Paul Jaffa, as he hunts down Taylor Oakes for the final top 10 position, and see how he gets around Queensland Raceway. So that was an onboard lap with Paul Jaffa there. Unfortunately, being passed by Daniel Kinsman and Taylor Oakes and then having that moment into turn 3. So that's dropped him down to 12th at the moment. We'll jump back to Daniel Kinsman, who's currently chasing down Taylor Oakes at the moment. And Taylor Oakes is chasing down Jason Wilds, who is currently sitting 9th. So Daniel Kinsman looks like he got a good run out of that final corner there, that time by. So he should be able to get a move done at some point. Hopefully out of into turn 3 as they both come through turn 2. Is Kinsman gonna look to make a move as Jeff is off in the distance there, just in the background? And Kinsman thinks about it and he throws it up the inside and just totally goes straight ahead from braking way too late. No way that move was probably ever going to work, to be honest. Currently also a battle for the final top 5 position as well between Chris Bramley and Trevor Wilson at the moment. I'll keep an eye on that. Meantime, we'll focus on this battle between Kinsman and Oakes. As they've just started the last lap as well. This is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, actually. No, they're about to start the last lap this time by, sorry. Getting mixed up here as they are a lap down as well, so that is probably why I got a little bit mixed up here. So Oakes is close, well, Kinsman, sorry, is close right up to the back of Taylor Oakes here. He's gonna, oh, that's a big move there from Daniel Kinsman, and he's managed to hold on just about. It's going to be a very good race to the line here as Taylor Oakes gets him on the last lap of the last corner. That was quite the move, but it didn't quite stick. Paul Jaffa and Greg Young will finish by them in 12th and 13th. Rob Derrick will finish in 14th. Brian Husson will finish in 15th. 16th will go to Nathan Addis after having that drive through. 17th will go to Tony Dance as he comes through the final few corners. And then Scott Hatton finishes it out 18th. So we will chuck the results on screen now. So there is your finishing order of race number 3 for the night. Peter Reid wins from Ben Rothberg, followed by Josh Revel, then David Stevens. Chris Bramley rounds out the top 5. Trevor Wilson, Daniel Bugler, Trevor Christensen, Jason Wilds, Taylor Oakes round out the top 10. Daniel Kinsman, Paul Jaffa, Greg Young, Rob Derrick, Brian Husson, Nathan Ayres, Tony Dance, and then Scott Hatton round out the rest of the field. Only 6 drivers finishing on the lead lap, unfortunately, but that's what happens in a longer race. So we will hopefully see you in a few weeks' time on the 28th of August for round number 10 at Sydney Motorsport Park, formerly known as, and more probably well known as, Eastern Creek. So we hope to see you there for what is going to be hopefully another good lot of racing, and hopefully less, well, hopefully probably somewhat equal, if not hopefully a little bit less carnage. So we hope to see you next time, and thank you for joining us.